Welcome in. It is the Thursday, November 13th edition of the NFL Spotlight Show. I am your host, Ari Meirov. Week 11 of the NFL season officially kicks off tonight with the New York Jets and the New England Patriots. The Jets, winners of 2 in a row. The Patriots, winners of 7 in a row. In Foxborough tonight, AFC East matchup. If you have not seen our special Spotlight Guest of the Week, we had former Dallas Cowboys 9-time All-Pro guard Zach Martin on the show this week. Really fun conversation, over 40 minutes, talking about his career, his path, his journey, his incredible career. Like I said, so many All-Pros, more All-Pros than accepted holding penalties, one of my favorite stats of all time. Really fun conversation with him, talking about all of that. Go check it out if you've not done so yet. As for today, we do have some headlines around the NFL to get to. What are some of the ripple effects, if any, to them? So let's talk about it here now. Let me bring in my good friend Ben Allen. Ben, what's going on, buddy?
Not a whole lot. And by not a whole lot, I always mean a lot. There's a lot going on. I do have to say, Zach's officially hit 1 million impressions on X. You guys, if you haven't seen it yet, he's got some really, really cool insights and stuff that I think he hasn't really told a whole lot of places before. So definitely go check that out, YouTube, X, wherever you consume your stuff. But while we're talking about being happy and excited, we got to talk about somebody who is still, I don't know, he's upset. He likes the drama. He's a little bit of a diva. AJ Brown, he went on Twitch, was playing, said, you know what, you should drop me if you own me as a fantasy guy, and then went on to show the stats from the game. So what did we make of this? What do the Eagles make of this? What do his teammates make of this? What does Ari Meirov make of this?
I mean, as people have told me around the NFL, AJ Brown is a troll for what it's worth. So, listen, I think everybody knows he has not been exactly happy this year, and understandably so. I mean, yes, they're 7-2, and all that matters is winning. But also, as we've learned over the years, superstar receivers love getting the ball. If they don't get the ball, they get a little bit upset, and whether that's taking it to X or posting a quote or trying to stir something up. AJ Brown has done a little bit of everything. And when you look at the numbers, I mean, some of the players around the NFL who have more receiving yards than AJ Brown this year, not to discount some of these players, but like, Troy Franklin and Oronde Gatson and Dalton Schultz, like these guys have more receiving yards so far this year than AJ Brown. And if you're AJ Brown, you want to get the ball more. And there was a point in that game on Monday night, which if you have YouTube TV, you probably didn't see all this. But on 4th down, late in the game, instead of punting the ball, the Eagles went for it. And Jalen Hurts looks at AJ Brown for like 3-4 seconds, and he essentially just throws a deep ball to him instead of punting the ball, which gave the Packers a shot over here at winning the game over here in or tying the game with a field goal. Something has felt off all year, and I don't know what it is. For a team that is 7-2, they shouldn't feel this miserable, and it looks like they feel miserable, and you feel like something is off. And Nick Sirianni press conferences, he's going back and forth with reporters, like you just feel like something's about to explode. People who did not see what AJ Brown said on his Twitch, we actually have it here. Let's play it right now.
You might get 200. And I ain't throwing.
Hey, if you got me on fantasy, man, get rid of this thing.
Yeah, that was one of a few things that he said. I mean, he called the situation right now a shit show. He did a few other things over here throughout the day. I mean, he pulled up his stats from a Madden game and said that's the only football highlights I got right now. So
you would have thought he was on the Giants with the way this is going.
I know that's the crazy thing about it. I mean, that's the thing about it that people around the NFL don't understand. It's like, you guys are 7-2. You guys just won the Super Bowl last year. Like, why does it feel like a toxic environment in Philadelphia, at least on the offensive side of the ball, not defensively? So that has been the question all year. I know there were those murmurs before the trade deadline. Will they trade him? It was impossible, nearly impossible to trade AJ Brown, simply because of the amount of dead money that would have hit the Eagles salary cap by doing it. It was never going to happen. So even if AJ Brown was frustrated, which he is, which is pretty well known, he also knew, and his agent knew, and they told him it is impossible to move you. So this is a story for the offseason. And the only thing I'm kind of watching with the Eagles right now is their defense is incredible. They're keeping them in games. That's number one. But you just hope you don't have what they had a couple of years ago when they started, what was it, 9-1, 10-1, and then everything fell off and they lost every game the rest of the year till they lost the wild card round to Tampa Bay. Like that is what people around the agent community, some people in the team executive community are like, hey, this is a toxic place where it feels like they better keep on winning because if one loss becomes two loss and two losses become three loss, then this thing could unravel. So for now, they're winning. For now, they're fine, right? But keep an eye on that. And of course, they have Sunday night versus the Lions at the Link in Philadelphia coming up this week. Let's see what happens in that game. So am I watching this situation? Yes. Is AJ Brown also a troll? Yes, he is. Is he upset? He is. But for now, they're winning. If this starts becoming losing a little bit, that's where my eyes open up a little bit more and this becomes a bit of a serious conversation. But for me, this is an off-season story. This right now, regular season, Eagles will push forward. They're still trying to figure out the Kevin Patullo offense, the offensive coordinator who took over for Kellen Moore. It feels like it's bland sometimes. Like it needs to be better whenever you have that offensive line. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. Devontae Smith is not rah-rah. He's not somebody who would be a diva, but believe me, he's also had moments this year where internally he's not happy. So there's a lot of things to be fixed up in Philadelphia, but for now, as we know in the NFL, winning cures all, and they're winning right now.
You don't imagine there's a situation where they would consider like benching or suspending him, right?
I think that makes everything worse. I mean, if you go in that direction, it makes everything much, much worse. There was a suspension somewhere recently. I'm trying to remember where it was, Ben. It was NBA, John Morant.
I was going to say John Morant, who just got suspended in the NBA. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you wonder by doing that, where does it go? Does it escalate worse? Or does the player be like, okay, I'm taking this too far. Let me take a step back. So that's what you got to weigh over here. But for now, there is no, doing something where it's bad for the organization, where they could fine you or suspend you. At least we haven't seen any of that. But I think if the Eagles went in that direction, I think just knowing AJ Brown from people who have, been around him and whatever, all those different people, I don't think that would be a helpful thing. So I don't think that's an option.
Well, while AJ might have his issues as potentially being a good teammate at times, one guy who doesn't have that at all is Jameis Winston. And our guy is going to be back there on the field this weekend because he is starting in place of the injured Jackson Dart, who still remains in concussion protocol. This is also notable because Jameis goes from quarterback 3 on the depth chart to 1, meaning that Russell Wilson is not going to be starting and he stays there at 2, right? Number 2. So what do you make of this situation?
A couple of things. So I actually posted this on Wednesday. A little bit of a cool detail here. Jameis Winston is now the starter for the Giants. Drew Brees was actually just hired by Fox to be a game-by-game analyst. And he and Jameis Winston are very, very close. And Drew Brees' first game for Fox is going to be this game, the Giants and Packers game. So Jameis is going to have a chance to talk to Drew Brees this week in those production meetings. And if you hear Jameis Winston talk from his time in New Orleans, he's ever thankful for Drew Brees for kind of reviving his career and helping him understand the position of quarterback and what it means and all these different things and kind of being a backup because Drew kind of experienced it a little bit when he was with the Chargers with Phillip Rivers up his neck. So that is something that I find very interesting, that Drew Brees' first game will be a Jameis Winston start. But yeah, Jameis is back starting. The NFL is better when that happens. I mean, it's a Jameis Winston experience like we had last year with the Browns. Jameis signed a 2-year deal with the Giants this year. So the Giants at least know that this is a player who's also going to be here next year. And I think it's important to know before I get to Russell Wilson that the Giants definitely got calls about Jameis Winston before the season, before the trade deadline. They were adamant they're not going to trade him because the bond and the closeness and the connectivity that Jackson Dart and Jameis Winston have had this year, it has been everything the Giants could have imagined and then some. I mean, he has been everything for Jackson Dart in that quarterback room. When Russell Wilson was the starting quarterback, Wilson had no time for the whole mentorship and show the young guy how to do it. Jameis Winston was doing that. He's been doing that all year. They become really close. They do some word stuff together, I believe. So, really, really cool story there. But Jameis is the starter for this week. Jackson Dart is in concussion protocol. We'll see how long that takes. Each concussion is different. The biggest story for me, though, is Russell Wilson, who started the year as QB1, the unquestioned QB1, when Brian Daboll was asked about it when he was signed, to OTAs, to draft night, to training camp, to everything. It was Russell Wilson is the guy. Stop asking me. And of course, but after week 1, after the Commanders game, he already was thinking about undoing that. And eventually, a few weeks later, he did. But for me, I look at Russell Wilson. He got the big trade to Denver, the big contract in Denver, started there for a couple years, ended up getting released, gigantic dead money, got another chance in Pittsburgh, signing for the minimum there. He started there after recovering from an injury, taking over for Justin Fields, got to the playoffs, lost in the playoffs. That was over. The relationship between him, some people on the staff, it really soured. They had no interest in bringing him back. Gets a third chance after waiting a little bit throughout free agency with the Giants, becomes the unquestioned starter. And again, now he's demoted to becoming the third string quarterback when Dart is officially back. My question now becomes, is this it for Russell Wilson? Because when you're a quarterback that has won a Super Bowl, has been a Super Bowl MVP, has been at the mountaintop, the idea of moving forward in your career and becoming a backup, it's not something you see often. The really only one that I can think of, at least in recent history, is Joe Flacco, who, reached the mountaintop, highest paid quarterback, has done all of it, and has decided to stick around the NFL, has been the backup, has been cut, has been waived, has become a starter again, comeback player of the year, on the couch, everything. I just wonder, Russell Wilson, who has previously said he wants to play until he's 45, I don't see an NFL team giving him a chance to start again this offseason when he becomes a free agent again. So he's going to go somewhere to become a backup or a bridge quarterback potentially at best, which I don't see that happening right now. I just wonder, what does this mean for his career, the amount of money he's made in his career, one of the top earning players in NFL history, as what he's done so far when it comes to the cash perspective on the field, off the field. Is this it for Russell Wilson? I think it's a fair question. He was open to getting traded before the trade deadline leading up to it. No one had any interest. The Bengals traded for Joe Flacco. That was it. So that's a question that's very interesting. And I've seen people bring this up. It's not really my question to answer, but people have asked the question, did he play himself out of the Hall of Fame? I personally don't think so, because if you look at the first 10 years of his career, he was unbelievable. But what he's done from Denver to Pittsburgh to New York and just how it's gone, it's a very, very interesting question, because you have quarterbacks around the NFL who play their way into the Hall of Fame. I think Matthew Stafford has done that. And then you look at a player like Russell Wilson, and did he do the opposite? That's a very, very fun conversation for whenever he does retire, the 5-year waiting period ends. What will happen with Russell Wilson in that world?
I mean, you just look at the numbers from the front half. It was so funny that this happened last night. Occasionally, you know how you get like weird things that just rush through your head at night. I had this exact, like, literal conversation in my head last night of like, is Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer? I was like, I feel like he is. But it was kind of I think it was spurred by Stephen A. Smith saying that LeBron James's longevity was stat padding to make him the GOAT. And it somehow transitioned to my head of wondering, it's like, are these guys that kind of hang around a little bit longer than maybe they should? Like, how does that work against them negatively? I don't know. It's an interesting thing. It's not really something we need to worry about right now. I'm mostly just excited to see Jameis Winston out there on the field. But one thing I'm disappointed about, because I'm not going to be able to see them on the field the rest of the season, is Travis Hunter, who has undergone surgery to repair his LCL. There was initially, some back and forth second opinions on whether it was the ACL, how severe this injury was going to be. We've now seen that this is going to be the case, done for the year. Cohen's already trying to shut down this whole narrative of, does this mean he's done as a two-way player? We're not there yet. We're going to get there. What do you make of this news as far as recovery goes, and when you will be, hopefully back early next season, start of next season? I don't really know. What do you know?
I mean, they expect them to be ready way before the start of next season. So that's the good news. And yeah, I mean, Liam Cohen, he addressed it. This has nothing to do with two-way player. Was it too much for him? This was a freak injury in practice. Like it was like so sudden, and the way the team tried to explain it was a twist, a turn, whatever it was, a cut. I'm not sure exactly what it was. And that essentially just, he went down, and there was concern it could have been much worse, right? They had to check. The ACL wasn't intact. It was. They got recommendation that he could just rehab and be back later in the season. And after another opinion, the best outcome was to do surgery on the LCL, which is what happened here. They expect a full recovery. It's the end of his rookie year. And it's unfortunate because it took some time for him to get into a rhythm. But as the year went on, you started to see flashes on both sides of the ball. And it really felt like on the offensive side, especially, it was getting better and better week in and week out. So that was the annoying part about all of this. There's a reason why the Jaguars traded for Jacoby Myers. They needed another receiver. They knew Travis would be out. They knew Brian Thomas is recovering from this minor ankle injury, which he's missed one game already. We'll see about this week versus the Chargers. But this is a team who wants to compete this year. And they have a GM in James Gladstone who's not afraid to make trades, not afraid to be bold, not afraid to be aggressive. He did it with the Travis Hunter trade, going up from 5 to 2, giving up a future first-round pick. He'll do whatever it takes. They have still full commitment, full belief, full everything that Travis Hunter could be the player that they traded up for and gave up all those assets. They knew it might take some time. They knew it wouldn't happen right away. And as the year went on, like I said, he definitely got better. But this is a team that will not have him for the rest of this season. They expect him back at the start of next season. And they're still hopeful to make the postseason of this year, obviously coming off a devastating, heartbreaking 19-point collapse in the fourth quarter to the Texans this past week. A true gut punch. We'll see how they recover this week versus the Los Angeles Chargers. But one of the most exciting rookie players that we're all looking forward to. And later this year, by the way, the Jaguars go to Denver to play there. It would have been his return to Colorado. That's not going to happen as well. So a bummer there, but he'll be back next year better than ever.
So what does that mean for the offensive and defensive rookie of the year? Does that mean we're not going to have the same person win both?
Yeah. We did not pick that, but that was definitely an option before the season. But I still believe Travis Hunter will be a great player. Like, I mean, I don't know how many people watch Jaguars games. I mean, the Jaguars-Rams game was a 9:30 a.m. London game. You saw the glimpses of like, oh, that's why he was picked that high. So it was coming together. And then, of course, the next week practice happens. And like I said, a freak injury just happens. And it could have been much worse. It was not, the full ligament damage, ACL, all that, thankfully. But he's going to go surgery, and he'll be back next year.
Feels like he was getting incrementally better, right? Like we finally saw the touchdown later as it was going on. I was hearing from some players and coaches that the coverage skills still a little bit of work in progress. He's so slight. But the actual talent, I think, is exciting. And I really hope that this does not have an impact on their decision to whether he will stay two-way or if they're just going to move him to receiver or, vice versa, keep him as a cornerback. What do you think this means, though, for the offensive defensive rookie of the year races? Do you think Emeka Egbuka is probably still leading the way on offense?
I think Emeka Egbuka is leading the way right now on offense. My pick before the year was Cam Ward. That is not going to happen. But yeah, I mean, Travis Hunter was never like at any point this year, I would say 5, right? I mean, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
There's been other options there. So Emeka is probably number one right now at offensive rookie of the year, and then defensive rookie of the year. Trying to think who would be the favorite. Right
you want to know who the favorite is? Our friends over at FanDuel have an answer for you. It's not who you're going to think it is. Well, you might think of it. I'll give you a hint. They're in the AFC and they play for a team with a really bad record.
It's not Abdul Carter, is it?
No, he is very close though. Abdul Carter is number 2 at plus 380. But there is another guy. This is the fun game of Stump Ari. He's at plus 185, making him quite literally a real favorite. And he was not a first round pick.
Okay, that definitely does not help me. Who is it?
Carson Schlesinger is currently in the lead for our friends over at FanDuel. Yeah. He is plus 185. Abdul Carter plus 380. Nick Emunwari plus 430. Jahad Campbell 700. Jalen Walker plus 900. And Donovan Ezeraku at plus 1400. So
yeah, once you said it wasn't a first round pick, I was gonna say Jalen Walker, but
yeah, exactly. I was like, Jalen Walker's really having a nice season. Abdul Carter, but it's funny. Sometimes those linebackers, they get kind of ignored until you really look down. It's like he has how many tackles, how many run stops. And I mean, he's been a good player. So it's kind of fun to see that. And then on the offensive side of things, Yeah, it's Emeka Ibuka minus 160, Jackson Dart at plus 190, Tyler Warren at plus 600. We probably should have mentioned him. And then he obviously missed the first game, but Quinshad Judkins is also, he's at plus 2,000, a little bit further back, but having a nice season. So
Yeah. No Ashton Genty, by the way, which is probably the biggest surprise.
no,
If you would have told me Ashton Genty has played every single game this year, we're now being in the top 5.
number 7 behind T-Mac and Gadsden with the Chargers is even there in the top 5. I don't know, Travion Henderson, if Vrabel will decide to let him run the ball like he did last week. Ramondre Stevenson's going to be out again this week. Maybe we see a little inching up, but yeah, Ashton Genty, number 7 on the list. Is shocking. Absolutely shocking. I still have more high hopes for him than some of the idiot media pundits that have been saying not so kind things about him, but
the Raiders coaching staff is one to watch end of the year, guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited to look forward to it. What else? Is there anything else we got to hit here, Ari?
I think that will do it here for this week's edition of today's edition of the NFL Spotlight Show. We will be back here on Monday morning, recapping everything that happened that was notable here in Week 11. Enjoy tonight's game, Jets and Patriots, and we will see all of you here on Monday morning.